we've got some exciting ADA charts to go over in this video. This is the monthly, weekly, some really phenomenal looking indicators lining up, and then the daily charts. I want to talk about, even on the shorter term, what ADA has to really do, along with the rest of crypto, what levels ADA has to overcome before we really start getting this bullish reversal confirmation. So hit the subscribe, hit the like, and let's just jump into the video. And before we even dive into the charts, which I'm excited to do, insanely huge news today. Cardano underwent a DDoS attack. And you can see this. The Cardano network has been under a DDoS attack for the past hour. Unfortunately for the attacker, it's getting expensive to do. All transactions going through just fine. But just here's a picture, and it's a really cool picture of the EUTXO, which Cardano uses for these transactions. Just look at that one block with all of those transactions in it from this DDoS attack. And just look at all these other blocks in general. You can just get a picture of how Cardano network operates. A lot of people are like, man, transactions per second they're just ridiculous. It's terrible on Cardano. Most people do not realize in this EUTXO environment, you have a ton of transactions in one block, and you can see this right on the screen, very illustrated really nicely. But I want to just talk about why this is incredibly bullish news. This is such a cool thing that actually just happened today. And I just did a thread on X. It breaks it down very simply, and I'm going to explain it here. If you want to go right to the charts, be my guest. But I think this is probably a really important context and news event as it relates to the charts. So Cardano hit with DDoS attack and absolutely thriving. The Cardano blockchain went under a DDoS attack, but remains fully operational because there's no single point of failure. This means the load is spread out, making it super tough for any attack to take it down. What's cool about this is I've been doing these videos for years about Cardano, and I've always talked about the security aspect of it. The way that Cardano is built different is a really big underlying factor for me as a macro investor, just a value investor in this chain, to now see that those fundamentals are adding value now in a real world use case. This is big. Cardano security measures are top tier, designed to keep things running even under pressure. Thanks to its decentralized design and robust security, Cardano is handling the attacks as intended. Cardano is built different. And what's crazy is the attackers' funds got exposed in the process and are now essentially being used to fund Cardano's development. The fundamental reasons, here we go. I'm bullish on Cardano, and this is good as we pivot to the charts. They're all becoming a reality. Resilience, so this decentralized architecture, just spreading out that network load. Security, which is so paramount right now, everybody, if you look at other chains even. Advanced measures ensure continuous operation, and massive community, everybody. The quick action from the devs, users, everybody just, it's like an army. And the network thrived today. And not only that, it proved itself. This is big. All this happening as Cardano season begins, because this is all while we have Cardano season kind of starting. If you've been in the ecosystem, you see kind of a lot of just excitement. A lot of people coming from other chains like Solana right now, if you're on X, hanging out on X. So big deal. Let's go over to the charts and let's just talk about this. I don't want to make this a terribly long video, but here's what we got going on. I wanted to, on the monthly, real quick, just point something out. Comparing cycles, I do it often. I just think we've done it for so long for Bitcoin. Cardano, we have a cycle to use, and I'm using it. If you look at this move of consolidation before the real nice parabolic move, and this was after Bitcoin halving, that move on the RSI, slower moving momentum oscillator. These moves take a really long time. Look at that move right to that yellow line. And this yellow line is really just like a moving average of RSI values. And you can see the bounce right there above that yellow line. Right now, Cardano's testing that area. And I don't know. It could just fall well below it, right? We don't know, but I'm just genuinely curious to see how Cardano interacts now with this area. And all the while, if you look at the monthly chart, so a lot of it will have to do with how this month ends, right? We have 5 days, 4 hours left, but check out the 20-month moving average. So curious to see if Cardano can get a similar bounce as we did last cycle, just around that yellow line on the RSI. So that's one thing that I'm watching on the monthly. Now, the weekly things start getting kind of exciting. And here's why. And I kind of talked about this a little bit in the video the other day. And then we're going to pivot to the daily and really talk about short-term targets, what Cardano has to do, where resistance is very heavy. But here's the deal. And it just doesn't get better than this in terms of these cycles for Cardano. Right now, if we look at this chart, Cardano is around from right here. And that's actually this box. Let me move this box right now because this is a week early. So that box really needs to be right around there. So let me delete that. So that box, the end of the box, that's a Bitcoin halving in blue. So essentially, Cardano is 63 days, we're like 65 days or something past Bitcoin halving. If we go to last cycle and we look at the similar kind of time frame, right now, compared to then, ADA is down exactly the same. This is insane. So the same exact time frame after Bitcoin halving last cycle compared to after Bitcoin halving this cycle, Cardano right now is exactly on pace. But here's why it's way ahead of last cycle. This is why. Time frame wise, yes, a couple months after Bitcoin halving. But what do you notice the difference here? It's the RSI. It's where Cardano is in terms of macro consolidation, in terms of that next bull market move for crypto markets. Where is Cardano? Well, 60 days or so after the last halving, Cardano is overbought and actually needed like a 50% dip. This time, at the same exact time frame after Bitcoin halving, Cardano just did the 50% dip and it's towards oversold now. And so when we're looking at this chart, maybe we do go lower. We'll look at it on the daily chart, but the consolidation, the pain of it, the worst of it, this pre-bull market altcoin season, pre-altcoin season consolidation for ADA is towards the end. Back here at this time, two months after Bitcoin halving, it was just getting ready to start. And you can just see how long that lasted. This is a weekly. So we had that big drop and then it was just kind of sideways for months before finally taking off. Things are moving sooner this cycle around. That demonstrates it really well. And all the while, we have things like Cardano being DDoS attacked and surviving with a massive ecosystem now, DeFi ecosystem. Everything is coming together in terms of Cardano this cycle compared to last. Here's the daily chart. This is what I wanted to discuss. I talked about, I think, in yesterday's video on the daily, potential bullish divergence. You can see on the RSI, the slower moving momentum oscillator right here. You just see it's just looking like potential bounce. And you can just see it's even actually a higher low right there. A little bit of an uptrend on that line, all the while falling lower on price. The setup, and I was just staring at this, and I'm actually just going to use a bars pattern. The setup is insane when you just look at a similar move back here. And what I mean by that is if you look closely, and let me open the chart so we can kind of dissect this a little bit. If you just look closely at, first off, this move that we're comparing right there to right here, very similar, right? But if you look even more closely and you kind of just look, well, what was happening before then, right? Same thing. What was happening before then? Look at this. Boom. Boom. And then it's just boom. The move, how these markets move, and we see this on like every chart, all different cryptos. It's just incredible. The similarities and these structures that set up that are just like, wow, that almost is like an identical repeat, right? So we can take our bars pattern and we can just kind of take this swing high move, right there, to all that consolidation, all the way here to this bullish divergence, to the explosive move to the upside. And we can just kind of bring it over here and just look at this, right? Not exactly the same, but just look at the similar vibes. And so we could be, first off, you can notice there could still be some consolidation sideways, bumpy, but we could be really repeating a very similar type of structure right now and bottoming out. And what that bottoming out looks like, I have no idea. That's what I'm going to be tracking. And that's partly what I want to talk about in this video. But on the daily chart, obviously we want to see this hold, right? We would really enjoy just seeing Cardano just continue to the upside right now. But notice what Cardano did last time. It actually still trickled sideways and down a little bit. So we have to be prepared for a little bit more pain. We have to. But to the upside, let's talk about what we could look for, because that's possible too. And for me, on the daily chart, it's just a couple things. It's the moving averages. That is huge for any reversal on the daily, even if that's a reversal back to the downside, right? So ADA is like overbought. And then what would we be talking about? We're talking about ADA needs to break below these moving averages and start seeing resistance at those moving averages, lower highs at those moving averages. That's for the bears. Now for the bulls, we're looking for the inverse, a break above and then support above. And this is it. This is the move we're looking for. Now, that area, the 20-day moving average around 41 cents, 50-day moving average around 44 cents. But I think for me, that would be nice if Cardano was to make a move there. Obviously, I'm watching for resistance in the entire area. But if ADA makes a move there and breaks above, it's good. But what I'm really waiting for is this area. This is a lower high Fibonacci, 45 cents to around 48 cents, just around 48 cents. So the lower high Fibonacci is basically this swing high back here to the swing low, and it's just that entire lower high area. Just breaking and turning that around. And I don't know if that's on the, the agenda like this week. I don't know. It's doubtful, right? Because these moves take time, whether it's sideways and then it's just like finally we're breaking, then we're really getting bullish, right? Maybe it's end of July, early August, this is happening. But that's the range that I'm waiting for. And that is around 45 cents to around 48 cents. And I think at that moment, we can really start talking about some bullish confirmation, because if we go over and we look at the weekly chart, what I want to point out to you is from a bull market perspective, ADA needs to get above 53 cents. That's the 20-week moving average. If you look back on any bull market, here's ADA, for instance, just hanging out and just making moves above that green line is key for a parabolic move, whether that's ADA, Bitcoin, whatever. We want to see it back above the 20. And that's a massive move compared to last cycle when ADA was finally having its breakout, was breaking above the 20. We're waiting for the break above the 20-week moving average. So that's what I'll be watching. We checked out the daily chart, all of this resistance up to 48 cents. If ADA can break above that, it will be making its first break above its first barrier over here at 44 cents, and that's the 50-week moving average. So still some work to do. A lot of it has to do with what's going on in crypto in general. Can crypto get a bounce? Not sure it's like right now. Not sure it's this week. It might be, right? But a lot of times it's not just like, okay, we're really oversold, it's time to recover. A lot of times it's just, it really can be painful. And we might have some time for we're escaping these lows. But I'm ready either way, everybody. So I just wanted to kind of go over some charts, what I'm looking at. I'm macro bullish, as always. Most of you know that. But this is the analysis and news for Cardano today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Smash that like button. Your support means a ton. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.